everyone, this is Anna from Savvy Cat Realty, and today I'm bringing you our mid-year real estate update for 2023. So, for those of you who don't know, Savvy Cat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that operates in the whole of Portugal. We aim to help expats find their ideal location and property here in Portugal and be their guys on the inside. Savvy Cat Realty is composed by locals and only Portuguese people, and you would be supporting a local company by working with us. If you do want to know how our services work, please check out our website at www.savvycatrealty.com. We list all the information very transparently there, and you can also reach out to us directly at contact@savvycatrealty.com. So, for our mid-year real estate update. So 2023 has been a roller coaster on real estate. Why? Because we started the year on a high. Everyone was panicking because of the report that was released saying that Portugal was one of the most likely to burst the bubble in real estate because of the inflation in the mortgage costs, in the mortgage rates, and then the demand actually didn't go down at all. Even though everyone was saying that the market was going to burst, what happened was actually the opposite. The demand still kept rising, and a lot of locations kept increasing in prices. Even places like Lisbon, the prices didn't go down at all. On the contrary, some locations are still increasing. So, unfortunately, the increase in Euribor did not have such a big impact in the Portuguese market at all. Not in that sense. It definitely affected the local market. And I actually had another video talking about that whole situation in more detail that you can check out in our channel too. But today I'm going to give you more of an overall situation. So that being said, the market, although fearful, so to say, was kept going up. And then in April, we had the whole golden visa polemic. So for those of you who don't know, our government decided to announce that they were going to end the golden visa. Well, putting it plainly, kind of all hell broke loose. So the government created panic, and this measure was because, well, it's kind of an election campaign, I would say. And the government is trying to address the issues on the housing crisis for the internal market. So we definitely have a housing crisis for the Portuguese people. What do I mean by that? I mean that the prices are too high for the locals. And the locals are being driven out of their own cities due to demand. And this is not a phenomenon that's happening only in Portugal, as we all know. This is supply and demand and happens everywhere. So locals are being driven out. There is a housing crisis. There is a rental crisis. Rental prices are absurd from an internal perspective. And the government decides to try and do something about it. So they proposed the new housing measures, and one of them was to end the golden visa. I also have another video explaining in a lot more detail how the new housing measures work. Some updating, is some of those things were approved. The situation right now is not particularly good for landlords, but that's also something that's actually bringing people out of the market. So investors, a lot of investors are pulling out due to this reason. But once again, I'm divagating a bit. So in the Portuguese market, due to the whole golden visa announcement, a lot of chaos happened because our lovely government decided to announce that they were going to end the program with retroactives, meaning that people who already had their visa would be at risks of losing the benefits that they got their visa with. And of course, no one liked that. That would have been an absolutely dictatorship measure, and it goes against all constitution of Portugal, and it created panic amongst the investors. A lot of people pulled out of deals, and there was a huge break of trust on the investors market that still hasn't been regained at all. So even though the standard habitation market is not being very affected by this whole thing, the investor market definitely is. There was huge deals lost. There was big problems for people that invested in property that were developing for golden visa purposes. And so our government went back and they decided to announce that yes, they are going to end the golden visa, but they are yet to announce when. And for the time being, it is still possible to get a golden visa. So what is happening right now is that there is a kind of a golden visa run for people who want to get this visa before time runs out and before the official termination happens. I do not think this will happen this year. I think until the end of the year will still be possible to obtain a golden visa. And if you want to do that, do definitely reach out to us at contact@savvycatrealty.com. And you can still make use of the current program, which is 350k minimum investment on low density areas and 500k commercial only investment in high density, where some areas have a discount and are 400k on the commercial. So either way, the main advantage of the golden visa is that you only need to be 15 days in the country in order to maintain your residency card and your visa. So it is a very flexible visa. So that's the main advantage of the golden visa. So like I was saying, what is happening right now is that there is kind of happening a golden visa run, and people that develop property for golden visa purposes are definitely rushing things and trying to get everything sold before the program runs out, because they made their investments and developed their projects for the end of this for ends of taking use of this program. So this measure created a lot of panic in that regard, and I believe one of the big reasons that it was taken back is exactly the amount of people that invested with the idea of reselling for golden visa purposes. So overall, while all of this is happening, the big investors are waiting for a crash. So the big investors that invest million and buy building complexes and all of that, most of them are pulling back and waiting for this whole thing to go by, because probably there is going to be a drop on the investment market once this golden visa rush ends, and once the program ends. There's probably going to be a significant drop on the golden visa market, on the investment market. And because of that, there is going to be opportunity, and a lot of big companies are holding back and taking back deals that were more or less negotiated in order to wait for this opportunity to come up, which I do believe it's going to come up eventually, but likely only mid-2024. But this is me crystal balling, so I do not have any guarantees of that. when it comes to the residential market, like I was saying, things are actually quite stable. And I'll do a lot of people who are going to go for credits and loans are being held back because credits at the moment are a lot harder to obtain and are very, very expensive because of the Euribor rate. So at the moment you have a lot more cash buyers on the market. However, there is still enough demand to keep the prices going, so the prices are not going down. And overall, when it comes to opportunity, I think that the tier of the market that's going to be affected by the whole mortgage change situation is going to be the mid-high end tier. Why? Because here in Portugal, there is a very, very high rate of variable rate loans. So that means that a lot of people are going to be affected by this huge increase on Euribor. But 70 something percent of the mortgages here in Portugal are under 400k. So are under 400 euros per month installment. That's what I'm saying. So this is a value that even if it doubles, you still can find a way to get an extra 400 euros per month in order to keep your house. However, if you are on a higher end of the market, and unfortunately there is also a lot of people on not a lot, but there is people on that tier that had variable rates. And when you had a mortgage that was 900, 1,500 euros per month, then it's a lot harder to find that money every month. It's not like you can find an extra, you can work some extra hours and get an extra 400 euros. It's a lot harder to get an extra 900 or 1,500 euros. So that market, it's probably going to be the tier that's going to be most affected for repossessions. And there is actually a lot of people that are kind of waiting for the repossessions to take place. A lot of Portuguese people have been paying attention to that. And it's kind of an ethical conundrum, but thing is, it's a lot easier to obtain credits on repossessions, and the prices are usually a lot more attractive. So a lot of Portuguese people are hoping for that opportunity, while some are having a hard time on this property. Some of them are like second properties and so on. And some people will be getting rid of them before it gets to a point where they have a repossession happening. So overall, I do believe there will be some properties coming into the market, and we actually have been hearing the bank saying that's going to happen for the past 3 years. Ever since COVID, I've been hearing our bank partners saying that they are so worried about repossessions, and a lot of things are going to come into the market, and we barely see any. So I haven't been seeing a lot of repossessions and a lot of repossession property in the market at all. And the few ones I do see are gone in an instant because there is so much demand for them. I do not believe the market is going to crash, and these repossessions are not going to be enough. They are not going to be a flood. And there is more than enough demand coming around to get those out of the market pretty quickly. So overall, things have been, like I was saying, a bit of a roller coaster this year, but prices are keeping up. I don't see a bubble burst on the residential market. I do see one on the investment market because of this golden visa situation. The residential market may be slightly affected when that happens, but I do not believe there is going to be any drastic changes in prices. Maybe a little bit of a slowdown or a slight decrease. But if you see that, that's only going to be, like I was saying, mid next year, mid 2024 or later. So far, even though all of the negative factors and negative perspectives that have been affecting the Portuguese market, it has been holding on very well. And as a local, I am actually not particularly happy about that because prices are very high. And even as a successful business person, and as taxes are horrible here in Portugal, even for me, I still find that the real estate prices are quite high. And one of the reasons I created this company was exactly to try and not participate in further inflating the prices. So our goal is always to get fair prices to our clients that we don't find to be overpriced. Of course, the decision is always theirs at the end. If we think they are buying something overpriced, we will tell them. And it's their decision whether or not they move forward, but it's they will always have that information from us. So, like I was saying, I don't see the market going down or bursting. Probably still things will stay the same for a while. Hopefully prices will not increase a lot more or very drastically. Of course, that depends a lot on location. And overall, I think on long-term prices will keep increasing. So this is my mid-year market update. I hope that this was helpful. I will love to hear your opinion because I know a lot of these things are rather controversial. And another thing that is probably going to be affected is the investment once again, and resale, not resale, but rental investment, because although a lot of rental measures were proposed for rental support, and some of them are interesting. Well, truth is the rental system in Portugal and the rental laws in Portugal and taxes aren't extremely functional, and the government is saying that they are going to improve on that, but I'll be waiting to see. And I think this affects the locals the most because the rentals that are the most problematic are long-term, very long-term rentals, like the rentals that are more than 20 years and so on. People kind of get stuck with them, so you can't increase the prices or kick the person out, and you kind of become social security. So that's a big problem for Portuguese landlords. But that's also one of the reasons that most people try to keep their contracts short, even though that means higher taxes. Overall, the investment, I think that a lot of these measures are actually going to be worse for the market because they are pushing away the investors. And if people don't want to rent their houses or sell their houses or build property to sell, then there isn't going to be more offer on the market, and we already have more demand than offer. So in a lot of ways, I'm seeing that this is going to increase the problem, and especially from a rental perspective, I don't see things improving anytime soon because, like I was saying, a lot of these measures, I feel that they actually make the problem worse. But we will see how that goes. So a lot of them have not been finalized or approved, and overall the situation is going to keep the same, I would say. Something I forgot to mention about this year's 2023 real estate market is that back when I started doing YouTube videos in 2022 and 2021, the market was very different when there is now. In 2021, we were in the middle of COVID, and at the time, most of the foreign buyers were pushed away from the market, which means prices were very negotiable. There was also, the market was mostly internal, and people who were in a hurry to sell and needed the money were willing to drop prices, and a lot of prices, people were willing to sell at like 15% lower than the price they were listing. This is not the case now. And I cannot stress this enough because I've been having a lot of people that come to me with this idea on their mind that everything is inflated 15%. That was the case during COVID. Right now, that's not the case at all, especially on high demand areas, because there is more demand than offer in the market in most of the locations. And when you are looking at things, especially in the interior and so on, you should listen to what our advisor is saying. Like, of course, some people are inflating the prices, but this is not the standard situation at all. This is pretty rare. And when this happens, even when this happens, it's not always negotiable at all. A lot of people are just willing to sit on it. So, of course, we always try to negotiate, and sometimes we are able to lower the price, but prices are not generally listed at higher or significantly higher than the amount people are willing to sell for. And in a lot of places, prices are not negotiable at all. And we have already been seeing cases of bidding where people are overbidding on properties. So do not come into the Portuguese markets thinking you will be able to lower the prices a lot and negotiate. Work with the buyer agent. If you are working with us, listen to your local agents. We are not trying to rip you off. Part of Savvy Cat Realty's concept and values are all about transparency. We just want to make sure you have the right information. And if we are able to lower the price, we will try. But this is very often not the case. So listen to what your advisor is saying and do take their word for it. And like I was saying, prices are often not negotiable in the current market. So definitely keep that in mind. I hope that this was helpful. Once again, I would love to hear your opinions. And we release videos every week. You can check all of our services in our website at www.savvycatrealty.com. Of course, subscribe to your YouTube channel for weekly updates on Portuguese culture, cities, and real estate. And same thing for the newsletter. And I hope to see you all next week. Bye.